one, wake up, really gonna rise with the sun. Step two, get some good, some food in you. Step three, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step four, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo. Set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flaws, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up, really gonna rise with the sun. Step two, get some good, some food in you. Step three, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step four, everybody just do your thing.
Hi, bullhornbetty. Thank you for my shirt. Welcome to the Bullhornbetty Kids Club.
Tom, it's just a tough subject. A recent study by Brown University showed that nearly 450 children are killed each year by their parents.
My daughters were picked up on a Friday by their father to spend the weekend, and that night he pumped carbon monoxide into their bedroom and slit their throats.
Searches have begun for two children killed by their mother in Pickens County.
9-year-old Hayden King was laid to rest today. Hayden's 4-year-old sister Harper will have a celebration of life service tomorrow morning.
Here's a story that's breaking at 6 o'clock. It's all centered around the three people you see on your screen. The key pieces in a Middletown murder case.
On the left is James Hutchinson. Police say the 6-year-old was killed allegedly by his own mother.
East Los Angeles mother was charged today with killing her 3 young children. The youngest was less than 2 months old.
At 6 with breaking news.
Good evening to you, friends. Greg Merriweather along with Elizabeth Vow. Our top story today, that precious little 2-year-old right now. 2 people are facing charges accused of murdering little Nevaeh Allen. Investigators found the 2-year-old dead in Mississippi after several days of searching.
One of those blamed in her death, the girl's mother, Lanaya Cardwell.
Welcome to the Bullhornbetty Coffee Club.
From the East Coast to the West Coast, we are everywhere true crime is.
We are asking for the public's help. We are searching in the woods. We are doing what it takes here on the Bullhorn Betty channels to find answers to the most alarming cases we have been watching on the news. I can tell you personally that I have traveled this entire country seeking these answers and bringing that content right here to you here on the Bullhorn Betty channels and Bullhorn Betty Crime Stories. We are happy with the work that we've done. We've brought many answers to the public, and we have defied mainstream media in our pursuit of the truth in these cases. We will continue to work, we will continue to fight for these victims, and we will continue to tell their stories here on my channels. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty brand of channels and the Coffee Club. Thank you for your love, thank you for your support, and more importantly, thank you for allowing me to bring these victims' stories to each and every one of you, advocating for each of these victims. God bless you, God bless America, and more importantly, God bless our victims.
What is up, my beautiful people of YouTube and X? It's nice to see you, TGIF. We have a lot to go over this morning, but before we do, I want to say hi to all of you. So it's nice to see Guidance. Guidance is up in the house. If you've noticed, we have some changes going on here. And if you are not a member, go over to the Bullhorn Betty channel. Bullhorn Betty Crime Stories is running on members only today. And of course, we have X rolling as well. So it's nice to see you, Guidance, followed by the real me too. It's me, Jen. It's nice to see you. Teresa, good morning. Mama Bear of 10, it's nice to see you. Net L, Stacy Fuller, Angela, it's nice to see you. Good morning. Find the Missing Children, good morning. Texas Nan, it's nice to see you, my love. West Virginia Holla Girl, it's nice to see you as well. Fly on Your Wall 1977. Is this the Soto case or a new one? No, it's the Soto case. We are talking about the mom. It's kind of a second part to our conversation yesterday because we were talking about, why the mom lied and things like that. I'm still not off the fence yet, but you know what? We did have an opportunity to have the behavior panel review this. And, we're going to discuss it. I don't want to give too much away just yet, but we're going to discuss it. Shani, it's nice to see you. Love, it's nice to see you as well. Dabs, it's nice to see you. Manic Mama T, good morning, my love. Teresa, Lady 7 Up, it's nice to see you. Sec 2, number 1, good morning, my love. And Jazzy, it's nice to see you as well. Just Deb is up in the house. Love. Karma's mom. Oh, because you guys come up with some creative names. Greatest minds. I'm going to call you that because I don't want to sit there and stumble on my words. It's nice to see you. Casper, Colette, good morning. Reggie, be good. It's nice to see you, my love. It's nice to see you. Everybody else that I've missed, people in the bushes, it's nice to see you. I'm Bullhorn Betty. We're going to be going over some things. But first, before we do, I gotta tell you guys a story. You're not gonna believe this. I'm one of the most bullied people on YouTube. It's calmed down a little bit, but still, there's still some, crusty crabs out there, so to speak. To say the least, right? And one of these people decided while we were getting together to do some meet and greets with some people here in Florida. This was last year, I believe. And we had this husband and wife that just thought they were just Billy Bad Butts, and they wanted to come hunt us down and, had razors in their hair, really crazy, some crazy stuff. These were also the same people that said that the lawful legal work I was doing is going to somehow wind me up in jail. Of course. Now, mind you, these are people that have substance abuse issues and alcohol abuse issues. And people are listening to them, just no problem. I just want to let you know what kind of garbage you're filling in your head. Yeah, shall we? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. Does anybody know a guy by the name of White Boy Lockdown Radio? Not the nicest guy. He used to be part of our crew through Gabby Petito, but him and his wife turned out to be really pieces of work. Okay, just garbage. They got mad at Marissa and decided to take it out on every single person because they can't control their behavior. And I couldn't understand why they couldn't control their behavior until I went to a birthday party and realized this guy's pretty violent. And not only is he violent, he's violent to his wife. That was it for me. So I turned the other cheek because, again, I gave her my opinion. She didn't want to listen. That's not my problem. I can only do what I can do, right? I can only do what I can do. I am going to say that I do hope she still gets help with the situation. But her boyfriend or her husband is now officially in jail, of course. Why? Because he can't quit drinking and driving. That's why. Can't quit drinking and driving. Let's give him a round of applause. Let's give this grade A piece of garbage the kind of welcome that he deserves. So Cape Coral Police received a call around 1:10 a.m. the morning of May 25th about a man sleeping in a car. The car was in Wawa's parking lot on Northeast Pine Island Road with the driver's window open. According to Cape Coral Police, the front cabin of the car had many open beer cans and strong smell of alcohol coming from the window. So I just wanted to point that out. This is a piece of garbage that has thousands of people listening to his nonsense about how he's reformed and how he was out of jail and out of prison and everything else. Well, all I got to say is he's just a troublemaker. Either way, let's move on. Laken Riley is a university-age student that was brutally attacked. I'm trying to figure out what words to use. Brutally attacked. It sounds like she was essayed and she was bludgeoned. Since then, this has become a national story on the immigration policy, which I am a part of and will continue to be a part of because I think these are poor policy decisions. And it lost one person her life, but it's not just one person's life that was lost. There are many parents sitting in the United States, just like Laken, that have had their loved one either killed or injured by an illegal alien, somebody that should not be here. There is a reason why we have policies in place for people to have ways and pathways forwards to citizenship. Okay? I just want to discuss Laken Riley for a few minutes. Vinnie Politan is on here. He's going to be talking about a couple things. I'm just going to take probably about the first 2 minutes of this to discuss it. Just to make sure everybody can hear, right? We're not having audio issues today, right? I just want to make sure. I'll wait for people to let me know, but I just want to make sure we're not having. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go forward. If we do, let me know. I'll refresh this page. just want to say I love Vinnie Politan. I absolutely love his demeanor. I think he is a great guy in the flesh. He's just a nice, well-rounded person, and I love his ability to explain things. This is a man, he's mainstream media, of course, but he's going absolutely nowhere. Okay. Because at the end of the day, he has an amazing platform here on social media. And not only that, he is just amazing at what he does. So big round out to Vinnie Politan for his dedication to the truth. I love him. The problem was they didn't charge him, I don't think, if it's in my understanding. They just let him go. I don't know what had happened with Jose Ibarra. I don't know. I don't care. The bottom line is, let me just break this down to everybody. The bottom line is we already have policies in place to stop this carnage. Okay? We don't need additional bills in any other state. We have federal law that says that people that come over here illegally should be deported. It is our government that has drugged this out to a 6 to 7 year process. First and foremost, if they never make it to our shores, we don't have to bring them in. And even if they did make it to our shores, you know what we could say? You know what we could say? Trying to text her. What? No sound. Okay. Well, it doesn't matter. I'm talking about it anyways. Can you guys hear that? I've refreshed it. I ask if you guys can hear. That's okay. I don't know why it's all of a sudden it's not working until I refresh it. It's driving me nuts. Might as well go down here and refresh the rest of these things too. Yeah, hush. Can you guys hear all those? I'm going through them and refreshing. Because if I have no sound again, I'm just gonna I don't know what I'm gonna do. It's driving me nuts because when I set these up, I set them up with sound, but I don't know. There's something going on with the audio. Long story short, no. No what? Frozen? Yeah, it shouldn't be frozen, text Nan. We can hear you, but not the video. So you guys can't hear this video. Oh, sorry. Let me go back to the right one. So you guys can't hear this at all.
Riley case, the nursing student from the who was found.
I just refreshed it. I just want to make sure that. Let's see what we got going on here. Okay, that was at 23. Yes, you guys can hear it now. Okay, so let's just, there it goes. Okay, yeah, it had to be refreshed. I don't know. I guess I'm going to have to go through here and start refreshing every time I set up my lives. Never had to do it before, but it is what it is. Either way, Vinnie Politan is not going anywhere. He's a great guy. I love how he has a way of explaining stuff to people. And this is his conversation on Lake and Riley and the new proposed bill. And the bottom line is we have enough rules, enough laws on the books right now. I mean, we didn't just start having an immigration crisis. An immigration crisis was welcomed to our shores. Our current president actually asked them and encouraged them to jump our border wall. I just want to make sure we're ultra clear on that. So I agree with the Lake and Riley bill or act, but in the same sense of me saying I agree with it, in the same sense I'm saying it's unnecessary. We don't need this. What we need is our government to follow the rules and follow the laws that are already on our books. That's what we need. What they're doing is they're like, oh, well, we didn't have this bill in place. That's why we didn't enforce it. Bullshit. Bullshit.
At the University of Georgia and was going to school at Augusta campus right next door. She had gone to UGA, University of Georgia, prior. We've got some new insight that I want to get to here just on really quickly before I get ready for my show tonight, 8 o'clock on Court TV, your front row seat to justice. Interesting, Congress has taken some action here in response to what happened to Laken Riley. And
action that should not have to be taken if our federal government would just follow the law as it is written currently. We don't need any other laws on the book. All we need them to do is enforce the laws we currently have on the books, and we wouldn't have any problems. Just saying.
Have the Laken Riley Act, which will require U.S. Customs to take into custody folks who are here in the country.
You know who gave the directive not to cooperate with ICE? I'll let you guys have a few guesses.
Illegally, that are then charged with theft. They've added theft onto all of that. So you come in, you're seeking asylum.
Why would we be so specific? Why don't we just say if you commit a crime after already committing a crime of breaking into our country illegally, you will then be deported, because apparently the crime of breaking into our country illegally is just thwarted because we apparently overlook that law. So if you get past the border and you break the law that way, but if you break any more laws, no, they're saying, oh, if you do this law or this law or this law, why don't we just say, if you break into our country and you break additional laws, your ass is out of here before your asylum hearing? Why don't we put that in the bill? Can we put that in the bill, please?
Whatever your situation is, you commit theft, Customs has to come in now. They've added that. So that's great to see you, Queen. So that's some new action being taken by Congress. We'll see if the whole thing gets passed, but it's all in reaction to what happened to Laken Riley. We know.
Isn't that how it always is? It takes somebody losing their life before we have knee-jerk reactions instead of just being proactive and preemptively stopping this stuff before it gets to this point. Seems like common sense. Just spitballing over here, right? It just seems like common sense, but I digress. I'm not as smart as my government.
No. The individual, the suspect, who's been arrested in the country illegally and not having a
love that. Love the fact that he has a gun. Oh, that makes me feel even better. That makes me feel Are you effing joking me? Are you joking me right now?
Was here prior to this case. You're seeing some images right now. That's his brother. That's the new insight that we have right now. He's being detained. The brother's being detained as well by the feds now.
Detained? Well, I guess he could be a witness to a crime, but I think it's time for deportation.
And in their documents that they filed with court, Department of Justice, really getting some interesting insight into what happened in Athens, which is where the University of Georgia is. And they're talking about the arrest of the brother, but the brother was arrested in the investigation into what happened to Laken Riley. Okay, so there's the suspect, but his brother, Jose Diego is his name, has a.
And I also want to say that nobody so far, and I mean nobody, is bringing up the potential connection between this guy and Rachel Warren. I'm assuming that law enforcement must not think that this guy is anywhere related to Rachel Warren's case. But I'm sorry, I just have this gut in me that just, I mean, the eyes, the nose, the haircut, it just, and not to hear anybody, and not only that, but the actual description of both of their attacks are almost spitting images of one another. And to boot, when we realized that this guy was at an apartment complex, do you know, right out in front of the Ma and Pa Heritage Trail, there is an apartment complex? It just gives me all these EBGBs. There's so many similarities. I mean, there's so many similarities. It is hard to ignore, and yet nobody is addressing them. Or at least I feel like nobody's addressing it. You know?
Same last name as his brother. And what they do is they detail the actual arrest on February 23rd. So I want to read that for you right now.
So this is all just to let you know, all up newer information than we've had previously.
On February 22nd, 2024, Laken Riley murdered in Athens, Georgia. Homicide investigators circulated to Athens Clark County Police Department patrol officers a photograph from a surveillance camera of a potential suspect.
We have always asked whether, because we found out there was some type of surveillance camera, and then we learned that Laken's phone actually dialed 911 during her attack. And I have to tell you, it makes me feel like I feel, and we also learned that there were cameras on this trail, and I feel like it is possible that they've captured some or all of her attack, either by audio or by video or both. Because there's enough indicators here that say there is potential for them to have this on some type of audio or video surveillance of some sort. They have some details. So I'm interested in that because he's talking about the cameras, and we've discussed whether or not this attack was actually caught on camera.
So they got the suspect on video. The photograph was a Hispanic male wearing a distinctive baseball cap with an Adidas logo.
A distinctive, and now we have yet another similarity that we did not know about, because if you remember in the Laken Riley case, he had a distinctive red Michael Jordan cap on. I'm telling you guys, there's something here. I don't know why I am so adamant. And then I found out he was in September, and I thought it was September 2023. And I had did a video on TikTok saying, maybe this is why they're not looking at him. And then after I did that video, I found out that it was 2022. That means he was in New York. At some point, he was a lot closer to Maryland than he is in Georgia. And it just keeps making me wonder. And then you couple the similarities in the crime, the similarities in certain key factors. Then you got the similarity for example, in Rachel Morin's case, it was during the day in a well-populated area that many people go to, and she was bludgeoned to death and pulled off the trail. In Laken Riley's case, we have the same key factors. We have the guy that was arrested in the Laken Riley case has a lot of similar features, predominantly right in this area, the eyes and nose that that look similar to Jose Antonio Ibarra. And then when you look at the hairline, I don't know how many people have that distinct shave pattern on it. And when Jose Antonio Ibarra was arrested, it looks like it has about 6 months of hair growth in those patches that go behind his ears. And it appears that he tried to lighten his hair. And now we're finding out that he is also a hat wearer of name brand hats and had an Adidas hat on. Did he dispose of that hat in the garbage? Did he dispose of his Michael Jordan hat in the garbage? I just feel like there's something here with the Rachel Morin case. I'm sorry, I do. I've talked to Olivia about it. I've talked to Mom about it. And I got to tell you, we all are kind of having that gut feeling that, there's a lot of similarities here not to at least look under the hood and see if there is a connection. And nobody's saying it. Law enforcement is keeping their mouth shut. Mainstream media is keeping their mouth shut. And I feel like I'm the only one. Well, no, there's other social media creators out there, because that's how I learned about the photo in this Jose Ibarra, and the side by side was other people were noticing it as well on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. Twitter had a mess of conversations about this specific topic. So I'm very curious, is the Rachel Morin case connected? Because I'm sorry, I would love to be able to have the man that attacked Rachel Morin behind bars. And also, never mind the fact that the reason why we knew that it was a Hispanic male that attacked Rachel Morin is because DNA was left that linked back to a 12-year-old girl, a young girl being attacked in Los Angeles. So if this guy is connected, that's basically solving 3 cases in one. So, naturally, I'm going to be hopeful for those odds. But I would just like somebody validating those concerns publicly.
Description again, they've got the photo, right? It's a surveillance video, so you're not going to have great quality, but it's good enough that they can capture the logo on the cap. Okay, so that's what they're looking for, and they're going all around the campus and the surrounding.
Listen to what I found out too, actually, and it came and you jogged my mind, Jazzy. You jogged my mind because you said that's on the move. Listen to this. This is one thing I learned from our own Grady Judd, because he just did this 228 person sting, like human HT sting in Polk County. He had several different agencies that collaborated on this project. Well, they found out that some of these women are, which we know, HT'd from other countries coming here illegally, right? And they are required to pay $3,000 a week. Check this jaw dropper. Okay. Do you know that our federal government is allowing illegal aliens to get on aboard our planes for free? I am breaking the bank to travel this country to cover cases. And now I'm finding out not only are illegal immigrants coming here getting free food, free shelter, free medical, but now they're getting free flights. Do you know that these girls are traveling to the major metropolitan areas free to sell themselves? Do you know that? If you don't, you need to get into the factual information of this. I find that disgusting. How is each and every one of us paying for somebody to go fly? Oh, sorry, I hit a wrong button. Fly around this country for free, when we can't even take our families on vacation because of this Biden economics bullshit. You want to talk about something that unnerves me? Is that we are here in the true crime genre trying to combat and fight HT and ST, and here we have our own government enabling it. It makes me sick to my stomach, and these are women that don't even want to be in the profession. They're forced to be. I'm angry and ticked off that women are so widely abused, and when we expect our government to step up to the plate and stop this abuse on women, they give their pips free airline fare to get their girls from one port to another to do their job. Somebody asked me on TikTok, why am I so angry? You know what my response to them was? Why aren't you? Why aren't you? We all should be pissed off.
Area. On February 23rd at around 8:30 a.m., Sergeant was patrolling the Argo apartment community, observed the Hispanic male who was similar in appearance to the man in the surveillance video, right? He would be similar to his brother. I mean, they're brothers. There's going to be a similar appearance, and was wearing an identical hat. Okay, so it's the same hat. The hat they see on the video is the hat they see on the brother. Hey, 2 and 2 together right here. What do you think the defense is going to be here?
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't me. It was my brother.
Plan B. They're going to plan B the brother. I'll be damned. Hey, it makes sense.
He's going to point the finger at his brother. Of course, that's going to be the defense. The sergeant approached the man, who was subsequently identified as Diego Ibarro, and asked him if he had identification. He said he didn't have an ID, but pointed to his University of Georgia Food Services employee name tag, which read Diego. Okay.
That university that thinks security and being tough on security and making sure that the children that citizens of Georgia and abroad send their kids to, right? Parents can't go on campus. It's college campus. They can go on campus, but you get my point. But they don't vet their own employees that are around your children. And the best they can put on a name badge for a person serving your child is simply Diego? University of Georgia. Do you know what safety is? I'm asking for a few 100,000 friends. Because your idea of safety and my idea of safety are two totally different ideas of safety. It should take an act of Congress to be employed on one of our universities this day and age, and to think that there was such oversight that an illegal alien that clearly has a propensity to commit crimes. Remember, Diego was arrested a few times too. Let's not forget. And the University of Georgia hired this man with all of their scrutiny and background checks, right? A teacher, I guarantee, has to sell a liver to even be considered for a position there. But your hundreds of $1,000s worth of tuition buys you illegal aliens. This is getting ridiculous. And you know what it all comes back to? It all comes back to our institutions of higher power breaking the law. Catholic charities. I just have a few questions to ask. Are you only Catholic charities and doing this for the money that the federal government is throwing at you? How much money are you getting from my back and everybody else's back to lie and provide false and phony documentation to people that should not be here? You know who's pimping them out? I hate to say it. I hate to say it. But Catholic charities is a big part of the problem. A huge part of the problem. I'm not saying the Catholic churches. I'm saying Catholic charities. It has become a gimmick, a money scheme with our Catholic charities. And it's making me sick to my stomach in this respect. Don't think I'm saying that Catholic charities and all the great work they do, but this is a stain, in my opinion. This is a stain on our trust for them, because I feel like they're violating the law and they're putting me at risk for profit, for money. I have a problem with that.
He was asked where he lived, and then they took him to apartment D126. At his apartment, he handed Johnson an ID, which purported to be a United States permanent resident card, colloquially referred to as a green card. And the ID contained a photograph and the name. And the sergeant immediately recognized that the ID was fraudulent due to its...
But they hired him anyways? Because remember, he did work there. So if he immediately knew it was phony, how did this man get his job? These are questions we need to be asking.
Poor quality, and the fact that the ID listed 2 different birth dates. Which brings us to something. Why didn't the University of Georgia who was employing this guy. Why couldn't they figure out that it was an obvious counterfeit green card? What's going on here? And
thank you, Vinny. Thank you. Yes. My thoughts exactly. My thoughts exactly. I'm curious, but if you guys want to see the rest of that that episode, I'm going to drop the link now for you guys to go and watch that. I thought it was great. Those were just a few minutes that I just wanted to snag from it. But I do recommend you going and watching the rest of the episode related to him. Before we get started on why we are all here, you know, what does mom know in the Madeline Soto case? We're going to get to all of that. Do we really know? We don't. We don't know what she knows. I have a different perspective than some. I have my perspective is obviously, you know, when you're dealing with opinions and theories and speculation and all this, you're going to have some that agree with you and some that just don't agree with you. And vice versa as well, because again, it's not fact. We're kind of taking a little bit of fact and we're speculating on that fact. So before we get here, you know, we've been watching and monitoring the case of Sebastian Rogers. He was the boy out of Tennessee. He's on the spectrum and he just disappeared, right? They tried to say he walked out of his house and he hasn't been seen again. And it's a very heartbreaking, or excuse me. Yeah. Missing, Middle Tennessee. Okay. And this is what I wanted to tell you because it was catching my eye, Kentucky. And it's because they're now in a Kentucky landfill. They're saying it's a precautionary measure, but I don't know because it seems like this is the preferred disposal now. Okay. We've seen it in several cases. And I've even stated that I think we need to change some policies and procedures in law enforcement because of this reality. One of the standard protocols, there's a lot of standard protocols that go into law enforcement and what they can and cannot do in certain types of investigations. That's why we can easily identify if it's still just a missing person case, when it goes to like a criminal investigation, when it goes into a homicide investigation. You know, we start looking at certain behaviors of law enforcement to kind of give us an idea of where the case is going, right? And so this one, we're learning a lot that parents are using. We've got landfill searches that was successful in many cases. They have logistical. I don't even want to get into the programmings at the landfills, but they're pretty logistically sound and well-oiled machines. I know it's trash and you may not believe it, but I can promise you they can tell you because of their logistic systems what area is dumped in what portion of their landfill. It's still a lot of trash that you have to go through. But as far as identifying the area, they have the logistical programs to tell you, okay? That's how we were able to find Quentin Simon. They're out there in the landfill for Elijah Vu, and now they're looking in the landfill for Sebastian Rogers. Now, again, precautionary measure. But I think that they really need to start making this as part of their protocol. When they have a missing child, they need to start segregating the garbage. Anything picked up prior to that child missing should go in one area. And that should be, they should have ways of moving their people so they can easily start moving that trash so it doesn't stop production, doesn't stop, hold anybody up. They're just literally segregating what was collected during this time frame so it'll be easier for them to go through it. I think that needs to be a protocol because we are finding out a lot of these parents are using our trash receptacles as disposal of these horrific crimes. And the only way we can ensure that this is not going to continue to happen is make it part of our protocol. And I'm not saying they have to go out there and physically search that trash right then and there. I'm just basically saying you need to segregate that trash so if evidence comes up that leads you to that facility, you're not having to dig through an extra 10 tons of garbage to get down to where you need to be. It's just a preemptive precautionary measure that needs to be happening across this country and needs to be put in our procedures across in law enforcement across this country. And it preserves any evidence if they later find out, because look at this boy has been gone for how long now? Think about where their trash has been processed, how it's been moved, all these things that they now have to undo to go out here and look. And now it's going to be 10 times harder, where they could have just called the facility and said, hey, we need you to segregate this area of trash. Sure, no problem. We'll reroute our crew. And everything after that is put in someplace else. Now, in 7 or 10 days, if they find out something that leads them out to the landfill, guess what? It's already segregated. It just seems like this is starting to become a little more common, and we need to start putting measures in place to combat it. I'm not feeling good, warm, and comfortable. I think we all knew something serious was going on with Sebastian's case. I think as this went on, especially with the autism and the, that part of it, many people that I know have or know somebody that's on the spectrum. And one thing is the repetition in doing the same things and going to the same places, because when you add, something new, it can be uneasy for that particular child. So everything is supposed to be, they keep everything as scheduled as possible because it keeps them nice and even keel. So just to hear them run out of the house, or to hear them stay gone, or to hear that if they ran out of the house, they wouldn't go to something that was familiar to them, is a little odd for anybody that knows. And I don't know a lot about it. This is just the little minute information that I know about the illness that gives me these determinations. And when you look into it, those are actually correct. So, normal people out there, I think, have some idea about the spectrum and have some idea about autism, and know that kids that have autism can have outbursts when things are new, because it aggravates them, because it's new. So this whole story about this child has been really weird and bizarre. And then the parents, the first time that they have an opportunity to come out, they go on a little channel that has 5,000 people on it. I guarantee that everybody and their mother in this town that is news, news people would have probably loved to have interviewed this family and put them on a larger platform. That's not the case. So you got to look at those things as well. This case is stinking to high heaven. Many of my audience members said that this is stinking to high heaven, and it's not looking good from where I'm sitting, especially hearing that they're going to the landfill, because once they start going to the landfill, we know what they think has happened to this child. And that puts us and makes us feel very uneasy. They can couch this as much as they want to, or how friendly and soft as they want to, by just saying, oh, this is just a precautionary measure. Precautionary measure or not, we know where law enforcement's head is at. And that's what's sad about it. So now we're going to get over I'm like, what in the world is that? It just went on to a commercial. I'm sorry about that. It was in my ear. I don't know if you guys could hear it or not. So now we're going to go over to the behavior panel. There's a few key things here about the behavior panel. We watched some stuff yesterday. We went through Jen Soto's interview, the one interview that she's provided, the one interview Stephan Sterns provided. And we all could tell that she was not being honest. And not all everything. There was just certain things that she wasn't being honest about, that she was coached about. And I expressed my opinion on what I really think is going on. I still stand behind that opinion. I think that although in this behavior panel, I think we all agreed, whenever I was talking yesterday, I talked about how dishonest and stuff she was. I think we all agree that there was places where she was dishonest and a mess of red flags for Stephan. Okay, I don't think anybody's going to really dispute that at this point. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. I don't know. So when I heard the behavior panel, I had to agree with the majority of their stuff. I did agree with a lot of what they were saying. They're very bright, smart. This is their business. The idea that she was being dishonest, yeah, I think we all got that. And so it was no shock to me that they were going to say that she was dishonest. However, I really truly believe that their analysis of why she was dishonest was totally off base, if that makes sense. I think that, and I could be wrong. This is just my opinion. They are highly trained professionals. They do this for a living. They're well known. I mean, Chase Hughes. I'm very familiar with Chase. Highly respected in their fields. But I just think that they had it right, but they were wrong because I think they applied the behavior incorrectly, in my opinion. And what do I think that they applied incorrectly? Like they were talking about the fear factor, how she felt fearful. She was fearful. And they also talked and specifically talked about how this seemed like it was rehearsed at times. And we touched on all of that yesterday before this came out, because in all fairness, I do believe it was. I believe he was in her ear the entire time saying, you know me, I would never do this. This is what happened. I also had brought up that I felt like she was the breadwinner, that she works a lot and stuff like that. I believe that. And I think, and it was more solidified when the behavior panel went over this, that I realized, you know what? I think that's where this is. We're trying to figure out how this woman could not have known. I believe she had some feelings that something wasn't wrong. I think we all have those feelings. But I also think she dismissed them. And I'm not convinced that her daughter told her anything. There's no evidence of that. There's nobody that has even stated that she knew or that her daughter told her. There's none of that. Okay, there's none of that. But I also believe the instincts of a mom. And I think that she knew, I don't think she knew something like this, but I think she knew that there was some type of uneasiness between her boyfriend and her daughter. I think that would have been known, that would have been seen. She just didn't know what she was seeing. I truly believe. That's just my opinion. Take it for what you will. Opinions are like a-holes. Everyone's got one. So I think they were spot on with their analysis of her body language and everything else like that. But I think they were applying it wrong because, in my opinion, this lady has self-esteem issues just from what I can see, how she was coddling her boyfriend, all these things. And when you look at her on paper, she looks like a pretty decent mom. Okay. And I don't want people to think she's this monster when she's not, because of this horrific event that happened in her life. But because of that, I know that these predators literally seek women out just like her. And they manipulate them. And they're constantly saying things in their mind because they know they're going to have to use those things later. So they're already preemptively saying certain things to make the trust in the bond of the mother. They may have already discussed what are they going to do if and when Maddie gets a little older and now she doesn't like me and she's going to, he's already having these conversations way back here ever before they get here. So they have the plan. He's manipulative, and I think that they applied that wrong. But again, they are the behavior panel. I've watched their work. There's a lot of work I agree with. I've never agreed with everybody 100%. I'll never get in 100% because I'm just, I think that's unrealistic. So I've never agreed with them 100%, but this one, I've never been so 50-50 with them on. And I truly believe it's because they're applying the fear factor wrong. I believe that they're applying the fear factor as she had to have known what happened. I'm applying the fear factor as she's realizing something isn't right. And I think at this point, all of those things that were uneasy with her in the past that she was in denial for are kind of coming back. and they're coming back in her mind, and she's listening to this man tell her they're going to think of it's me. They're going to think it's me. And she's she's a smart woman, so she's probably listening to him, but now she's probably very nervous about the state of her daughter and whether this man has done something. I don't know. I'm 50-50 with this. I really am. I think that she was I just think it was applied wrong. I think this guy was a monster. I think she's partially a victim of his, almost like the Stockholm syndrome type thing. Would she have participated in certain things? I think she would have, but not the hurting of her daughter. I don't think, absolutely not. But, interjecting something in the timeline to benefit him because she doesn't believe he would have done this. They were also talking about how she wasn't crying at the time and not really showing any emotion. And while that is true, I also believe that he had it in her mind that entire time that she's just angry with him or something, and that she just ran away. She wrote her friend and said this or something like that. I don't know. We will not know until we start getting affidavits out. And we're not going to get those affidavits until arrests are had in this case. And right now, the arrest for Madeline's disappearance and untimely death, brutal death, it has not been charged. Nobody's been charged with that. Not even Stephan. He's charged with things that happened prior to her disappearance. So we do have that. But I wanted you guys to hear this. Let me get back to this. It's not quite where I want it to be yet. Where is it? Okay, I want it to be, I think, right there, I think is where I want it to be. And I want to hear this.
This is typically a need for reassurance. And this is happening at the moment that she's saying she never made it. And right at this moment when they're saying, waiting to hear anything else from the school, she's saying that there's a hard single shoulder shrug, prolonged eyebrow raise, kind of seeking approval, or do you believe me? Like Greg said in the first video, more lip retraction. And one thing that's happening here is that there's a parent sharing all of the reasons her daughter cannot be found. And this, I think, is highly unusual. And it presents a huge hurdle for me to think that she's wanting to inspire people or help or inspire hope, that there's a way that this can be done.
And so that is kind of where I'm getting at. Like, they're analyzing this much differently than I'm analyzing this. They're looking at it like, because she said these things. I think she's saying these things because this is what Stephan was saying to her when she was trying to find her daughter. He's like, well, she has ADHD. She leaves her phone at the home. Your daughter, or our daughter. Like, I don't know. And again, I could be totally off base here, but I just feel like in my mind, that is more realistic than what they're painting. Like, they keep saying in this behavior panel, we're not saying that she had any involvement in this, but you keep trying to imply that she does. But then at the end of this entire behavioral panel, they end it after they see Stephan and they see all his red flags. And I think they start realizing or bringing it back in where, she could be it could just be this knowledge that's coming forward after all of this. Like, at the end, they start, being more reasonable with what she made. But early on in this, I was just like, I wasn't screaming at the computer, but I was like, but what about this? What about this? And that's the bad thing about Premiere. They live, so I can't really ask them questions. Like, I wanted to ask them so many questions related to their behaviors, because again, we're not dealing with just a normal family that has problems that a 13-year-old disappeared. We're dealing with a man that seems to have infiltrated this family to get to the daughter. He's a predator. And that needs to be applied because he's in that mom's head. He's in her head nonstop. And like I said, because he's a predator, before he ever laid one finger on Madeline, he's already preemptively talking to the mom about certain things as they're going through their relationship. And making sure, as he's planning in his mind how he's doing this, he's making sure that they have a plan in place when there's an outburst from their daughter, and that they have a plan in place whenever she doesn't like him anymore. But to me, it sounds to me like she was the breadwinner and always working. She wasn't even at her daughter's birthday party. What if she never even saw her daughter? What if she lied about that to protect him because she didn't think he could have done anything to his daughter or her daughter? What if because I keep thinking, what would make a mom not show up for her own daughter's birthday? She was working. Everybody keeps wondering, how in the world could this have happened without her mother knowing about it? What if her mom works nonstop and has left the parenting up to Stephan because they are partners? She needs to go to work to pay the bills. He needs to make sure Madeline gets up and goes to school. We'll figure it out. We'll get it done. Don't worry, honey. All right, we got it. We're a team effort here. Now she has reliability and stability from Stephan to take care of her daughter while she keeps working. Now her daughter's alone with this man more so than she's not. What if mom didn't know about this because she's not home as much as we think she is? There are so many variables missing from the information the public has in this case. And yet I see time and time again, even the behavior panel condemning this lady on, her body language, they've got spot on. But then they start speculating on what she may know. Like, even at one point, I think one of them even said she probably knows where the body is or something like that. And I about lost it. And I'm thinking, now you guys are getting a little too sensationalized, because I never got that. That lady did not look like she knew where her daughter was. I'm sure, like many parents, there's a lot of things going on in her life that she wishes she woulda, coulda, shoulda right now, right? But to go to that length, I thought was just a little too far for my comfort, especially with the little bit of information that we know. And granted, she's got body language, but there were so many variables with that body language. For them to make that type of leap was a little too much for me from everything that I've learned and have been taught. I thought it was a little too much.
When somebody introduces complexities and challenges like this, I've never seen someone do it who's purely innocent. She's going through all the lists. She left her phone at home. She's got ADHD. The cameras aren't good enough to see anything. There's no way to track her. And still, we're not seeing a mention of Madeline's name at all. And one question
I did have a problem with that. But she looked like a deer in headlights, to be honest with you, when media was there. And, on one hand, you don't know how people are going to react. But on another hand, if she was just told by her significant other to say this, I'm sure if he's telling her this, there's something in the back of her mind saying, something's not right here. Something's not right here. And she's got cameras in her face, and I'm speculating here. I could be totally wrong. This is just my speculation. I just feel like she was answering the questions that were asked, potentially. In my opinion, she knew. A lot of people believe that, Allie. A lot of people believe she knew. I don't believe she knew about the essay. I think she knew something was going on. I will be, and maybe I'm giving her too much of the benefit of the doubt, because there's a lot of professionals out here that just do not, that aren't agreeing in the same ways that I'm agreeing with that. I just, no, I don't think she knew about the essay. I don't think she knew that this man killed her daughter. I really don't. Do I feel like a flood of information hit her and was pouring into her after the fact? Yeah, I do. I believe she was questioning everything, and I think she was side-eyeing this man. Um, I think at some point she felt deep in her stomach that he did something to her, and I think that that was prevalent. Um, Again, it's just interpretation. It's just interpretation. But as far as the body language itself, I think everybody can agree she was not being truthful at the beginning. I think later in the interview, I think she clarified more stuff. Like at the beginning, she was talking about we. And then about 4 or 5 minutes in, she's like, well, it wasn't me that dropped her off. It was my partner. So she was kind of, I don't, like even them, I think they even took that as distancing language. I didn't. I truly don't believe the mom saw the daughter. I think she was too embarrassed to say she never saw her daughter on her birthday or the next morning. That's what I truly believe. Because she wasn't at her birthday. And when he asks her about what she says, she was almost shocked, like you're asking me this. And I think she was shocked because I think it was that moment that she realized she never really talked to her daughter. But again, it's just perception. It's perception. And there was another spot in here that I wanted to get to. I think it was this one here. Let's listen to this clip here. I think it's this one. And here, let me drop this out. You guys, if you have not watched this, watch this. I dropped another link for another gentleman yesterday that I think bode more in line with my theory than the behavior panel. And that was dropped yesterday. So you might want to go back to yesterday's live and you'll see me drop it right close to the end of the show. I think we showed him the very last clip before I exited, before my outro. So you might want to go and check that out. So at least you have two different sides. You got the one from yesterday and the behavior panel today. So it helps you out in listening to both perspectives.
Do you have any inkling where she possibly could be? Like if you would say, okay, last time I went to work and came back, she was at James' house or Sabrina's house, and maybe I forgot to check that house, or she played at this park one week and maybe she went back there or something like that.
We've looked everywhere we could have thought, and anywhere she would have been. She would have known to wait for me at the school. But we did check if she could have walked. My mom's office is close to the school. We checked there. We checked the walking paths that she could have taken. We've checked all of her friend's house. I think we've checked everywhere I could think of, honestly.
What do you think? Oh gosh, I just had it tip my tongue. What was she wearing?
She was last seen wearing a green hoodie.
And this is where they have a problem with, she was last seen wearing a hoodie. You're going to hear them like kind of chew her up a little bit. But again, this kind of bodes in with my theory. She didn't see her daughter. We know she wasn't at the birthday. We know that Stephan was throwing stuff away really early in the morning, much earlier than Madeline should have been at school. I think they said it like 7:30, 7:40, something around that time frame. He was seen on camera throwing her book bag and her school issued laptop away. And he told law enforcement he dropped her off at school like around 8 or 8:30. So some 45 minutes earlier than when he said he was dropping her off at school. And so I really think, and if he's going to be this elaborate, could he have turned the shower on and say Madeline's shower? So when mom got up and went to go get her coffee, she heard the shower running and just assumed her daughter was in the shower. And she says she was last seen in this because maybe Stephan is the one that told her what she was wearing that day. I truly believe there's something here with the mom not seeing her daughter.
and really just going upon what she was told by Stephan. And that would explain some of these things that the behavior panel are talking about. But again, they didn't talk about that. And it's a little upsetting because there are different perspectives here and different perspectives that would bode right in with their analysis. So I'm again, they're great, but I just I have more questions after their presentation than before.
Black shorts, white Crocs, a black JanSport backpack with gray hibiscus flowers on it.
And this is not like her.
Not at all.
To even run away, an argument, anything like that to provoke her.
She's never done anything like this, no. And we haven't had any arguments recently to have this outcome.
What school?
Hunters Creek Middle School.
Tom, any questions?
Have this outcome.
What school?
Hunters Creek Middle School.
There we go. They're going to break.
Tom, any questions? No. Is there anything that you think our viewers would need to know about the way you're feeling?
I'm just going to go.
In the end, she does use her name, but it's taken some time getting there. So a little bit too late from my point of view. I hope you're okay. Lots of upward inflections there. I would like more force within that. If it's a sincere call out to her daughter, that there's the possibility that she could be hearing her, even if she's captured in some way. And then there's a complete change in voice and attitude from being passive, which we've heard of before, to being now and passive and kind of helpless, to being active when she's describing how she could direct somebody the journey home. A really big change. Again, we're always looking out for changes. I can't really make head or tail of why that change, but it shouldn't really be there. There's no necessity.
Yeah, but I still think they're eliminating the fact that there is a threat in the house. Like the man is right there, and she is probably regurgitating literally everything Stephan told her. Because he was the one with. I mean, I got to imagine she's like, "Where did you drop her off? Where did she go? Why did you drop her down the road? We never drop her down the road." I'm sure the mom was having these questions, and we don't know. Well, we do know that Stephan is a predator, and predators have very specific ways of manipulating their prey.
For a change there, and it's almost like an affect gets dropped for this kind of passive helplessness that we've seen her in, suddenly gets dropped immediately. It's like it's been an act of.
I disagree. I think that's sensationalized, but again, I digress. Let me see what they say about. I think it's where's the last? Is it here? I think it's here. Let's see what we got.
Add anything with that little Mickey Mouse voice he's got going and that fake expression fading like that. He looks normal. He looks unbothered. If you just stop this and look at it, and it looks like he's looking for something. It's the oddest behavior for someone who's supposedly worried about somebody or has just experienced something where someone in their family or one of their close, someone they love is missing. That whole thing isn't right. You guys covered just about everything. So there you go.
And I will be going back tomorrow for the Stephan breakdown. I didn't want to put too much. I know, was it yesterday or the day before? I was really aggressive on our show, and we did get through quite a bit, and we covered a lot of different updates on multiple cases. But this one I'm trying to take and put in bite-sized pieces, because I truly, if I believe this mom was this monster, me. I mean, hell, everybody here on YouTube knows what I would be willing to do to make sure that somebody that injures a child is behind bars, lawfully and legally, by the way. But for me to be taking this stance, I have to have more information, because we understand the behaviors of these predators, and it's not as cut and dry as mom did it. There's manipulation here
We know that there's manipulation here. Now we're hearing mom might have been working a lot, not home for her daughter's birthday. There's just a lot of telltale signs here that show that there's more to the story with mom and how this man was around her daughter as much as he was alone. I think it has to do with mom's work schedule. I think we're going to find that to be true. Now, again, nobody has been arrested right now for Madeline's disappearance or her murder. Not Stephan, not her mother, Jen, nobody. When Stephan gets arrested, that's going to be our cue to start looking out to see if mom has any culpability. If mom has any culpability in this crime, she is going to be wearing a pair of handcuffs right along with Stephan. We need to be looking out for that. They have not dotted their I's and crossed their T's enough, so much so that they have not been willing to arrest him. They've got him on enough right now where they can take the time that they need to build this case. So there may be a time in the future that they do arrest Jennifer Soto for misleading or obstructing justice. And I think she did obstruct justice. I'm not saying that she didn't obstruct justice. I'm saying that there was a reason. The why means something to me. Was she doing it because she was trying to cover for her man to hide her daughter's untimely death? Or was she doing it because she didn't believe Stephan did it? And I think it's because she truly did not believe Stephan did it, and Stephan was in her ear. And I absolutely believe it. And we can look at the behavior of Stephen McDougal. He was the one that was accused of killing Audrey Cunningham, the little 11-year-old girl in Livingston, Texas. Look at his behaviors after that, how he was trying to get into the mom's head. Remember? Before and after, when she disappeared, how he was sending all those messages to Cassie. It reminds me a lot of that. Just that manipulative portion that I feel like the behavior panel just excluded. Like, I just don't think they didn't butt it in. Like, if they would have said, we're also looking at this aspect of it, then I would have I would have listened to them. But I don't like how they're applying it. I think their analysis is off. I'm not going to keep beating a dead horse. That's just my opinion about the situation. And here's a little more from Court TV. Again, I'm pretty sure it's Vinnie Politan again, because I love him. He's my BFF, not really, but really. And I like his commentary. You know what I like about some stuff here? I'm noticing that, like with Nancy Grace, I like her. I love her. I love Vinnie Politan. I love seeing people's emotions. Like, I feel like they're no longer robot talking heads on these channels and actually give a damn about the people that they're talking about. And Vinny is one of them. Nancy Grace is one of them. There's many of them that I absolutely love. And I pray to God that they don't go anywhere. I love Brian. And you guys know my BFFs out there in mainstream media. I have a few that I absolutely love. And when I talk about mainstream media, they're not part of that conversation because of their I don't consider them mainstream media. I mean, they are mainstream media. They have such a huge social media platform that it just takes them off the TV and brings them into your computers. And that's what I like.
I'm Vinnie Politan. Thank you for joining us here on Closing Arguments. This hour, we're going in depth into one of the big investigations that is taking place right now, perhaps the biggest in the nation, criminal investigations. We're talking about the case out of Central Florida involving this young girl, just 13 years old. Madeline Soto had just celebrated her 13th birthday. And then
I will tell you guys this. I did go back and look at some photos of Madeline because it was this photo here that I saw, and I thought, she's smiling, but her eyes are really sad. She's got a big old smile on her face, but you look at her eyes, and her eyes look so sad. And so I go back into her photos, and you kind of almost see the change. It's sad. Where her eyes go from being bright and happy to being dark and sad. And I don't know how to express that in words, but you should go back and look. You'll see it. And when you do, it's like your heart just breaks because you see it. You saw that specialness, almost robbed from her in the photos. I doubt you'd have noticed it before, but now that we know all of this, you look at it and you can see it clear as day.
Went missing on February 26th. Her birthday was on the 22nd. They had a celebration on the 25th. And this hour, we're going to go through three things that I want to take a look at. And I want to begin with an accidental release that happened. And this was a little bit disturbing, surprising, and not welcomed, I don't think, by the public.
So you guys know what he's talking about. He's talking about that photo that was released. It was accidental. Some idiots, and I shouldn't call them idiots. I mean, there's some people that are a little hot under the collar that it was released, but accidents happen. We're all human. We've all made mistakes. Is it worth losing your job over a mistake like this? No, it's not. From my understanding, it wasn't like a graphic photo. It wasn't something that's going to affect the integrity of their investigation. What was it supposed to be released? Of course not. It was it was in a group of photos that was released for elderly or whatever thing. You can see it was clearly a mistake, not intentional by any stretch of the imagination. And people made it a big deal when there was no big deal to have. Was it in I would say poor taste? It wasn't even in poor taste because it was an accident. What do? You say I'm sorry. Is it worth somebody? No, you don't lose your job over a mistake like this. You just don't. I'm sorry. I'm not going to go into it. I'm not going to have an argument about it, but I just think it's wholly stupid that we're all humans. We all make mistakes, but yet this person needs to lose their job because they made a mistake.
What happened here? And it involves a crime scene photo. This is from reporting from Fox 35, a statement made by the sheriff. This is what the sheriff said. A post was made on social media about a community so far. But that man, Stephan Sterns, let's talk about him. And a lot of chatter and talk. Was this guy a Disney employee?
Yeah, we want to hear this.
Did he work for Disney? Now, if you go to his Facebook page, it's pretty clear. He posts up there that he was, in fact, a cast member at Walt Disney World. And for those of you not familiar with what a cast member at Walt Disney World is, that's someone who works there. You don't have to be one of the characters wearing the costume. You just have to work at Disney, and you're considered a cast member. So based upon that, a lot of folks are a little worried based upon the allegations he's facing now for those photographs on his cell phone that he was arrested for, sexual abuse. We believe that victim in those photos is Madeline.
And I have to tell you, this whole Disney thing, like, I don't care what anybody says. I think this man worked at Disney. He acts like he's a Disney employee. As sickening as that sounds, it's the culture Disney has decided to make for itself. Keep your kids away from Disney. It's not the greatest place on earth. I can promise you that.
Madeline, but working at Disney. So here's what the Orange Observer is reporting about whether or not he works at Disney. And despite information on the Facebook profile belonging to Stephan Sterns, the man arrested February 28th in the case of missing 13-year-old Madeline Soto was not a Disney cast member.
But was he ever? That's the question. But was he ever? Not at the time.
Officials confirmed. So not a cast member. Was he a former cast member? Did he ever work there? Did he work for a subcontractor there? Those questions we still don't know.
And there you have it. And there you have it. And we're not going to get into the body language aspect of this either, because I think we've had enough body language stuff for the day with the behavior panel. So I'm just going to pop this link in here. We love Vinniepolitan. So if you would like to see the entire segment, there you go. We are right. Oh, thank you, sweet misery. God bless you. God bless you guys. So Mama, Manic Mama T, it's nice to see you. And thank you for your love and support. It's me, Jen. Again, thank you, love. And she gave a gifted membership. If you received your gifted membership, please don't forget to tell It's Me, Jen. Thank you for that gifted membership. As always, Jen, thank you so much. And our beautiful, sweet Misery True Crime. If you haven't been to her channel, go to her channel. She gets a lot of great interviews. I love it. I love it. Who else do we have? I think this is about it. That's really all I have. Let me see what else we have here. Oh, yeah, we do have this. Community honors missing girl. Yeah, I've got to play this. We're going to have a little commercial before it plays. So just bear with me. Oh, good. It's muted. Usually they start blaring and it's so annoying, but this one appears to be muted. And I don't want to touch it until it gets up because I always hit a button and it takes me over to the commercial. Oh, and of course, this is
a community grieving the death of one of their own, still trying to come to terms with the fact that
you can barely hear it.
Madeline Soto is gone.
I didn't know Maddie personally, but it still hurts me because it really could have been any.
Good Lord, it's low.
But she's still one of my. I feel like she's family.
Hold on. Religious leaders held a vigil at Hunters Creek Middle School Friday night, the same school Maddie was supposed to show up to on Monday, but never made it.
The Bible teaches us that we have to cry with those who cry and laugh with those who laugh. So now we will cry with those who cry. We will.
I can't hardly hear it. Sorry, let me turn the volume down just a little bit. I can barely hear this. So I'll drop this down for those that would like to see this as well. But this was her celebration. The community honors her. They came together for Madeline. Like this little girl, you know, it's one of those things where I think we love everybody. We don't want anything bad to happen. And I just see such beauty in all this tragedy when the community comes together and really rallies behind the victim. And this is what we see time and time again. It's sad that we have to see it time and time again. It's sad that the communities have to rise together. It's sad the communities have to come together to bury a 13-year-old girl. And just less than 2 weeks before, we're burying an 11-year-old girl. And now we've got a 15-year-old boy missing, a 2-year-old boy, landfill searches. This is getting ridiculous out here in our country. And people ask all the time, what's the answer? Well, first, the answer is we need some substance abuse centers around this country. And we need to really get serious with our substance abuse problem. That is the first problem. We correct the substance abuse problem. A lot of this stuff with the children are resolved. Parents are able to parent again. But when we have violence, drugs, alcohol, all this stuff pouring in, all this stuff being part of our family makeup, we're going to have these problems and we're going to continue to have these problems. The stuff coming across our borders is killing us. It's making us do deranged and senseless things. It's doing something to our bodies and it's doing something to our brains. I have never seen so much child garbage in this country in my life. There is a culture being bred here and it needs to stop. It's got to stop. It's got to stop. We need to be in our communities. We need to be in our city council meetings. We need to be in our county meetings. We need to be in our school board meetings. We need to be wherever our politicians are. And we need to say, we need better laws, tougher laws. We need to protect our children. And we need to get the Department of Children and Family Services under control and funded. When we can fund Pakistan and Iran and God knows what else overseas, we should be funding our child protective services 10 times more than we're funding overseas entities. And if people have a problem with that, go over to those overseas entities and then come back and talk to me. Because I'm tired of it. Our children are suffering because of this nonsense. Our parents are going out and becoming drug addicts because of this nonsense. People are now smoking marijuana and getting addicted to fent because it's in everything. Enough is enough. Close the damn borders, get these drugs off our streets, and start healing this country. That's what we need. And we need the funding of our Department of Children and Family Services, because right now these people are overworked and underpaid, and we need help. All right, guys, that's my 2 cents. Don't spend it in all in one spot. Until next time, don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe. And more importantly, be kind to thy neighbor, right? There's a lot of crappy people out here. You have the opportunity every single morning that you wake up to be part of the problem or part of the solution. Be part of the solution. God bless.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.